Hey guys, Level Cap here. Today we're going to be taking a look at all Revision 3 skins for Battlefield 1. Starting off with the Assault, we actually get quite a few new skins. This here is the M97 Trench Gun, and this here is the Special Veteran Guard skin. It changes the wood color on the weapon to a much lighter color, and it changes some of the gun barrel to a brass color, even with some engravings on it. I think this is a really good special level skin, and if you're lucky enough to get the Trench Broom Distinguished skin, it takes the same design style and bumps it up just one level. It extends the brass look over the entire gun body and adds some very cool weathering effects to the wooden furniture on the weapon, and even adds some cool fabric wrap to the stock. I think this is an excellent distinguished level skin. Moving on to the Model 10A shotgun, one of the best shotguns in the game in my opinion. This one gets one new distinguished level skin called the Dillinger. It adds that stripy paint effect to the gun. Many other weapons have the same look in the game. I don't think it's actually going to make you blend in, but it might make you stand out if that's what you want. Assault also got a whole bunch of new skins for the SMGs. The MP18 got the camouflage pattern skin, which I think looks okay. There are better skins out already. This one just adds darker wood furniture with dark green splotches of paint. One of the coolest new skins is for the Automatico 1918, and this one is a distinguished level skin. It's not even a legendary, but it gives that amazing white finish to the gun. It almost looks like it's ivory, with just a beautiful looking silver polish design to all the metal parts of the weapon, and there's even some cool engraving towards the back. Actually, the white part of the gun body also has some very cool engraving. The Automatico is a very good SMG, and I imagine we'll be seeing a lot of people running around with this new distinguished skin. The Hellrigel also gets two new skins. The first one is only a special level skin called Veteran Cavalry, and it makes barely any changes to the base skin. It's basically just a weathering effect to the wood stock and the metal furniture. However, it also got a legendary skin called the Archduke, and this one actually does make the Hellrigel look significantly cooler. It's got sort of a cherry stock that's all beat up, wrapped in fabric, and then the gun body itself has more of a silvery finish to the metal. It just looks sort of like worn, but also shiny around the edges. There's also some cool engraving details on the metal closest to the stock. You can see it a bit from first person's perspective while you're shooting the gun and reloading it. It definitely looks cool and is a nice bit of style for this very, very good weapon. Now the 1903 Hammerless, which is an Assault exclusive sidearm, also gets a little bit of a weapon skin here. This is again that same camouflage pattern. I personally don't think it looks that great on here. I'd rather just run stock, but it's there if you want it. Moving on to the Medic class, the M1907 gets a bunch of new skins, including a legendary. One of the first skins it gets is just the special camouflage pattern. There's already been a bunch of cooler skins than this, so I doubt we'll be seeing too much of it on the battlefield. The legendary skin is called the Blue Devil, and we saw this basically same look with the Model 10A shotgun from Revision 2. It's a cool looking skin for sure. Unfortunately, it doesn't look that cool from first person perspective. In fact, it's almost impossible to see what's going on, especially since you don't see the stock of the gun, which is arguably one of the cooler additions that the skin makes. So you'll look pretty cool to your friends, but on your own screen, you're not going to notice much of a change. We also got one new special skin for the M1916, which in my opinion is one of the best medic guns in the game, so stylizing it is definitely cool. The Veteran Guard skin for it doesn't really change much though. It changes the wood color, and it also gives the metal a sort of coppery tone towards it. It's very, very subtle and hard to notice. If you got some of the cooler Revision 2 skins, then I doubt you'll be using this one. The Mondragon also gets a distinguished skin called Mesopolonica, and it's a cool looking skin. I like it a lot better than the default look of the weapon. It's probably one of my favorite Mondragon skins that's come out so far. It also gives that sort of camouflage sniper feeling, especially when you're laying down with a bipod. The M1914 sidearm, which is actually a very good sidearm, also got a camouflage masking skin. It's okay. There's nothing particularly cool about it other than just it looks a little bit dirty and poorly painted. Now the Medic's Auto Revolver also gets a really cool distinguished skin called Psalm, and it's got a very, very nice silver finish to it with a white handguard. This is definitely one of the better looking skins for one of my favorite revolvers in the game. However, if you got the Distinguished skin from Revision 2, it's basically the same thing but with a brown handguard. Granted, I think the white handguard looks better, but there's barely no difference between this Distinguished skin and the last one. Now the support class gets quite a few new skins, especially for the Madsen Mg. The first one is the special camouflage masking skin, which mostly just changes the wood stock of the gun. It also seems to darken up the metal of the weapon a little bit. Ultimately, this is something that you're barely going to notice in game. Then again, it is only a special level skin. The next one is a Distinguished level skin called the Tonenberg. And it's cool looking. It changes up the wood furniture in a better way, and it actually adds camo to the rest of the gun body, although it's very hard to see because of how dark it is. The Madsen also gets a legendary skin called the Dane, which adds a similar camo pattern that we saw with the M1907, also with this sort of burlap look on the stock that's got some camouflage stuff involved there. It's a cool looking skin, but unfortunately when you're firing from first person mode, many of the details are lost. You can't even see the stock of the gun. Most of the wood furniture is hidden, and the actual camouflage pattern on the gun body is somewhat hard to see or really notice. So it's going to be one of those skins that's more effective when somebody else sees you versus you seeing it from first person perspective. Now the M1909 also gets a special skin called Veteran Cavalry. It does add a few nice little highlights to the metal detailing on the weapon, adding in some brass here, some sort of copper styling elsewhere. It's certainly not a bad skin. However, if you've already beaten the campaign, then you will have a cool trench cleaner skin that's got some really cool engraving on the stock, better metal detailing, more engraving on the side of the gun body. It's just overall a better looking skin. So not that the special level skin isn't bad, it's just if you've already beaten the campaign, you've got something better. Now the support also gets a really cool skin for the M1912 sidearm. This is the Habsburg skin, and it just gives it a beautiful golden skin with tons of engraving details on the side of the weapon. This, in my opinion, is what most legendary skins should look like in the game. They should either make the gun like golden or silver, or have all this kind of epic metal engraving or something like that to set it apart. I feel like some of the legendary skins are a bit of a letdown. This one certainly isn't. Moving on to the Scout class, we have 4 different sniper rifle skins, each for a different gun. This one here for the 1895 is called the Royal Decree. It's kind of a cool looking skin for the weapon. It's got kind of a coppery finish to the metal parts, a lighter tone to the wood. It's not too different from some of the other skins that have already come out for the Russian 1895, but it's not a bad skin in general, especially for a special level skin. Now the Gewehr 98 also gets a camouflage masking skin. This is just a special level skin, which is normally not that cool looking, but since there's so much wood on the body of the Gewehr 98, it's a bit more pronounced. It looks a little bit cooler. I think it's better than the stock skin for sure. You can even argue that it blends in pretty well on deserty maps. We also get the Von Scheiffen skin for this, which is basically that stripy skin. It looks pretty good on this one just because of how much of the weapon body is actually wood, so there's a lot of stripes on it if you like the stripy look. We also get this cool marine camo for the M1903. It's got this sort of weathered look. There's even some engravings on the gun body. Definitely a lighter color wood, and then it's got sort of a brass finish on some of the metal. I just really like the look of this skin in general. It definitely will blend in on deserty maps, and it looks very cool and frankly pretty realistic for something that somebody might have been carrying. The M95 sniper rifle might get one of the most underwhelming skins I've ever seen. Are you ready for it? Veteran Cavalry. Did you notice the change there? Did you notice that big old change that happened? Basically, the gun just looks a little bit more weathered, and I think the metal around the trigger guard is like a brass color, and that's about it. There's like hardly any difference on this skin at all. I think I like it better than the stock skin, but it's certainly not going to compete with the legendary we got from Revision 2. There's also been quite a few skins for the universal sidearms in the game. The 1911 gets the Veteran Guard skin, which is a very subtle difference. It gives it sort of a brass lower to the gun, which looks cool, I have to admit, but there's plenty of really cool 1911 skins out there, so I probably won't be using this one. Now the MLE 1903 gets possibly one of the coolest special level skins I've seen so far. This one is called the Royal Decree, and it gives a very cool copper finish to the gun with some engraving all over the side. I mean, this one looks almost like it should be a legendary level skin, but it's just a special level skin. So definitely a cool level skin for a sidearm that's certainly not too bad. Now the C93 also gets an excellent skin for it only being a distinguished level skin. I think it looks awesome. This one here adds a silvery finish to the gun with a white handle. It just looks awesome. I mean, that sort of sparkling effect in the sunlight is really cool. It's got all this nice engraving on the side, and it even looks really cool in game. I have to say this is definitely one of my favorite skins from Revision 3, and it's definitely not a legendary. Now the P08 sidearm actually gets 3 new skins, 1 special, 1 distinguished, and 1 legendary. The special skin is called Veteran Soldier. It adds a little bit of a brass highlight to the weapon, giving it a different colored barrel and a few metal highlights. It's certainly not a bad skin for a special level skin. The distinguished one adds a bit more gold to it. It also has a bit of an engraving on the handguard there, which you definitely won't see in game because you'll be holding the gun. Kind of cool, has a overall brass looking color to it. I think it's okay. I almost prefer the two-tone to the solid brass look. And then the legendary skin called the Peace Seeker is kind of a letdown in my opinion. I mean, it's not a bad looking gun skin at all. It's got sort of a bluish silver look with lots of engraving. It's not that different from the other skins though. I was hoping for maybe different style engraving or whatever on there compared to like the Red Baron's P08. It's definitely not as cool. So certainly a bit of a letdown when it comes to legendary skin, and it's almost impossible to tell what's going on with this gun when you're shooting it in game. Very hard to see from first person perspective. Anyway, that wraps it up for this Revision 3 weapon skin overview. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it gives you some ideas as to what skins you might really want to shoot for. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap signing out.